So do you recommend I take this? Have any of you, as nurses or providers, had your patient say, do you recommend that I take? Yes. Okay. That's kind of a really sticky question. I'm loaded with bias on that as someone who has done chronic kidney disease, specifically heavy stage 2 into early stage 4, where I'm really trying to keep them from becoming a patient in a dialysis unit, to now where I am totally stage 5 hemodialysis driven. So just think about that. Do you recommend that I take ... This picture was taken with permission. I did a home house call visit on someone with rapidly progressing stage 3B CKD, and as we went through all of her medications for the usual issues, gout, hypertension, diabetes, lymphedema, hoarder. Did you know that being a hoarder is actually a diagnostic code? Yes. She brings out 2 shoe boxes of supplements. I think there's about 30 in there. She had around 50. And never was she ever going to give up any of these, because every single bottle said what it did, and quote unquote, they were good for her. That lisinopril was just plain poison, and could we get rid of that? But these were going to keep her healthy and staying strong. So I thought this was interesting. Just FYI, Nature's Bounty, #1 supplement provider in the United States. That's your #1 medication, or #1 company, I should say. Annual average expenditure on how much do we spend on supplements? Depending on where you read, and really before COVID, after COVID, how that has changed. And you can see that nice little spike from about 2020 or so. It's just gone straight up. So if 1 supplement was good, 5 supplements taken 3 times a day of 4 tablets each must be even better for you. If a little is good, more is better. And as you can see, the numbers just go up and up and up, and they are not stopping anytime soon. Approximately 59 million Americans use some type of vitamin or supplement, spending an average of $510 annually. Okay, I wanted to say that's true. I probably spend about that much. I've really, though, cut back on supplements since giving this talk. 50% of Americans use some herbal medicines in 2020, and they really are everywhere. Gummies. Gummies make me terrified as a supplement, because little kids can get into that and they taste yummy. All of a sudden, I want every supplement to be a gummy. Your protein shakes, which must be good for you, so therefore if one is good, 2 is better. Just really to increase the body's quote-unquote supply of critical vitamins and minerals. I just think, man, in Utah, I grow my own food. I have 1/3 of an acre. Can we just not grow our own food and eat that? Good food. Broccoli is good for you. Leafy greens, all those good things, or do we need a supplement? This was an interesting consumer report that I found in 2023 talking about dietary supplements are essential to maintain my health. This was a true-false question that was given to just a random group of people who were surveyed, not looking at kidney disease, just random group, and 92% agreed with this statement. The belief that the tablet, the supplement, was essential to their health versus your diet, your lifestyle, your alcohol intake, your intake of water, perhaps not so much, but it was that these dietary supplements were essential. Natural products and supplements. Patients often seek non-prescription options. We know that. What can we find? Weight loss. And Dr. Tracy here is going to talk about some weight loss, sexual performance, muscle building. Ooh, baby, do I see a lot of that? Because what do as you get older? You replace your muscle with fat. Therefore, let's take a muscle supplement. Memory support, another really big one. I'm going to use a brand name here, Prevagen, all over the TV. Probably one of the #1 questions I get from persons on dialysis is, should I take Prevagen? Hair loss, no one wants to lose their hair. So what can we take or rub into it? Patients often do not disclose their non-prescription product use. Oh, if it is natural, it is safe. I've heard that before, so is arsenic. It's natural, not safe. Refer to products in many different ways. If they're an herbal product, a natural. Man, I get that word natural all the time. Yes, but it's all natural. Okay, yeah, so is tobacco. It's all natural, grown in a field, rolled in paper and smoked. There's many ways to ask these questions, and actually Tracy and I are going to demonstrate a medicine reconciliation or a reconciliation when it comes to supplements, because I really believe there's a way to do that.
Can I just make one additional comment
absolutely.
on this too, Kristen, is when you look at these reasons where people are most commonly seeking self-remedy, they're all sensitive topics that they might not be comfortable bringing up with a provider, or more soft topics where we might not be prioritizing them in metrics or measures that we need to get done in that 15 or 20 minutes that we have. Some of these things may be pushed down on the list. And even the advertising for a lot of these sexual enhancement things, it's like mailed to your door in discreet packaging, and no one's going to know about this. And so I think making sure that we're addressing what the concerns are to the patients and purposely bringing up some of these more sensitive topics to allow that discussion may also help them as consumers make good choices with options that we might be able to have more control over the regulation. So it was super interesting to me when I saw this list of top supplements. I don't think that's an accident, that those are the things that people are seeking elsewhere, because healthcare isn't giving them the answer they want in those arenas.
Absolutely. So quiz for y'all, and they're just by show of hands or a yay or nay. The United States Food and Drug Administration regulates the use of vitamins, minerals, herbals, or botanicals as dietary supplements. FDA regulates as dietary supplements.
Raise your hand if you think it's true. Raise your hand if you think it's false. I'm glad you're at this talk.
What's the answer, Tracy?
It's true.
Yes, these are dietary supplements. That's a whole different cascade than an FDA-approved medication. Yes, they're supplements. FDA, in the United States, the FDA regulates the effectiveness and safety of pharmaceutical products. Those are your prescriptions that you get behind a counter from a licensed pharmacist. Your supplements are all the ones that are in front of the pharmacy counter, that in my store are buy one, get one free. So if one is good, two must be better.
Over-the-counter pharmaceuticals are, so like acetaminophen, that's not a supplement. That would be considered a pharmaceutical. So over-the-counter products that are pharmaceuticals are regulated by the FDA, effectiveness, safety claims, et cetera. But natural products, vitamins, botanicals, minerals would all fall under dietary supplements, and that's a different level of, quote, regulation.
True. Amendments, tell us about that, Tracy.
Well, that's what separates your legend drugs, your prescription medications that you need to get from a pharmacist behind the counter, and over-the-counter status of pharmaceutical that's safe for patients to be able to use purchasing on their own. And then there's some tweeners where they're over-the-counters that you can purchase, but they're hidden behind the counter because they're diverted or used to make meth, like Sudafed. But the key thing here is that when you're regulating a pharmaceutical product, the FDA requires demonstration of effectiveness and safety. So that's why pharmaceutical companies have to do phase 1, phase 2 trials to make sure they're safe in animals and general population. And then they have to move into the population that's intended to use the medication. And they need to show effectiveness, and they need to show safety in order to be labeled as a prescription drug product. They also have to demonstrate clean manufacturing, good manufacturing practices. So you hear about medications that get pulled off the market because they've been contaminated or something. The FDA is going in and testing products and making sure that they're meeting these manufacturing standards, along with having those studies and trials done that demonstrate effectiveness and safety. So heavy regulation of pharmaceutical products.
Yes.
Different FDA regulation when we're talking about those vitamins, minerals, herbs, botanicals as a dietary supplement. So there is regulation, and that's the DSHEA Act from 1994. The supplements, to be labeled as a dietary supplement, you do not have to demonstrate any effectiveness. But you also cannot state that you're effective to treat a condition. And Kristen will talk about some of the small print. So it prevents dietary supplements from having a specific claim saying, we can prevent heart attacks, or we can slow the rate of GFR progression. They can't say that. It also doesn't require any sort of safety warning. So even if there's a known side effect of a dietary supplement or a common adverse effect, that does not have to be written anywhere on the label. You're not going to find like may cause all the side effects you hear on the TV advertisements, okay? There also is no regulation of the manufacturing process. And so we'll talk about what variability that can cause, product to product, bottle to bottle, pill to pill. They do require, in green, these are the positives, although when you look at them, mandatory reporting of adverse events. What does that mean? Do patients know if they have an adverse effect from a dietary supplement they buy, that they need to contact someone, or who do they contact, or who might find out about that? If a manufacturer finds out about an adverse event, they're mandated to report this. But I wonder how many adverse events actually get to the manufacturer. The FDA can pull products, and there are some examples in this talk if it's mislabeled or misbranded, found to be adulterated or contaminated. If the FDA finds out about that, they can mandate that those manufacturers pull that from those dietary supplements from the shelf.